Hey everybody, it's been a while since I've been on. I finished my chemotherapy the third week of April, and so I'm now finished with that, thank goodness. My last videos have talked a lot about what my chemotherapy was like and the symptoms that I had. Today's video, I want to talk about what's next. Currently, I am cancer-free. No cancer cells in my body. Definitely something to celebrate. However, I also need to remind you, the bad news is that ovarian cancer is not curable. It will return. And my body can't handle chemotherapy again. So when it returns, they help you have the best life you can while you can. When will it return? Well, $1 million question there. Nobody knows, and it's different for all women that get ovarian cancer. So a vast majority of women that have ovarian cancer will have it return within 3 years following chemotherapy. My plan is to beat those odds and not have it return for a very long time. Now, there's just no going back to my pre-cancer days. Chemotherapy and my surgery were designed to remove cancer cells. The next portion of my journey is to prevent cancer from growing again and to help me get stronger. So how long does it take to recover from chemotherapy? I have days where I do feel better. I will continue to get stronger every week. It's a slow process right now for me, but I do see improvement. For most women, it takes 6 months to a year before you feel like yourself again. Long 6 months, long 12 months. Okay. The next step in my treatment is I am doing what's called a targeted drug called Zejula, Z-E-J-U-L-A. Now, Zejula, I take 1 tablet a day. It's 300 milligrams, I think. Zejula has what I would call mild, difficult, and fatal possible symptoms. I go in weekly for a blood draw. The mild symptoms that you can have with Zejula is that you feel weak, you feel tired, you can have frequent infections, shortness of breath, and it can lower your magnesium levels in your body. In a little bit, I'll talk about magnesium. Of those symptoms, I am experiencing the weakness and the feeling tired, the shortness of breath. My magnesium levels are low. Whether they're due to Zejula, that I've only taken for 2 weeks, or due to the chemotherapy, I guess probably some of both. Okay, difficult symptoms. These are ones you can live with, but they're not pleasant. Okay, dizziness. I've had a little dizziness, but not a lot. Pain in your abdomen. I have pain in my abdomen. I don't even know how to describe it. It is not site-specific, it's just in my abdomen, and it just feels really uncomfortable. You can have indigestion, nausea, and constipation, which are very difficult symptoms. I have not had nausea, thankfully. I haven't had indigestion. I do have trouble with constipation. Now, I had trouble with constipation even during chemo, and of course I had it right after my surgery because they removed 6 inches of my colon. I still have trouble with constipation now. Fatal symptoms. Zejula can cause bone marrow problems, resulting in cancer of the blood. There are 2 types of cancer of the blood that you can get from using Zejula. The first one is called MDS, and I'm definitely glancing at my notes so I can tell you what that stands for. Myelodysplastic syndrome. Or you can also get AML, which is acute myeloid leukemia. Both of these cause cancer, cause blood cancer. Hence my weekly blood draw so they can keep track of how I'm doing with taking this drug. Now, I have had disturbed sleep probably for 2 months. It's maybe even 3 months, where I would wake up middle of the night multiple times. Sometimes I would go back to sleep, and a lot of the time my eyeballs were just wide awake. Now, it happened a lot when I was taking high doses of steroids so that I wouldn't have an allergic reaction to the chemo drugs. But it still happened even through part of last week. And then I found a solution. But I would be up. Sometimes I just could not go back to sleep. I'd be up for 3 or 4 hours. Then I'd finally sleep for an hour or 2, and then I'd wake up again. It was difficult. When you don't get enough sleep, you don't have energy, you don't feel well, you feel tired. All symptoms that are just exacerbated when you're under chemo. With Zejula, I take a drug called olanzapine. Now, I took this drug when I had chemo, and it prevents nausea. So I take it at night when I take my Zejula, and it has prevented me from having nausea, which is awesome. But a benefit also of olanzapine is it helps you with your sleep cycles, which is pretty good. I am now sleeping through the night. Okay, I wake up once to go to the bathroom because I might be a large person, but my bladder is small. But I go right back to sleep. So that has been a huge factor in how I feel during the day because I'm actually well rested. I take a medicine cabinet worth of meds every day. Some are over the counter and some are by prescription. I have never taken medicine that I didn't think I needed. And now I take 8 pills in the morning, 3 pills about 3 p.m., and 3 pills at night. So I have a container. It has my morning and my night meds in it for a week. And then I use a separate little pill container that has my meds for around 3 p.m. And I need the meds. What can I say? Okay, let me talk a little bit about some of the meds that I'm taking. And I will glance at my notes just because I don't have some of this memorized. And I want to make sure I give you accurate information. So one of the things that I take, and this is just over the counter, but it's alpha lipoic acid. I take 200 milligrams of it. This helps turn carbohydrates into energy, and energy, Lord knows I need that. It's made naturally inside our cells in the mitochondria, but our body doesn't make a lot of it. Now, when cells produce energy, they also release substances that are called free radicals. You've probably heard that term before. Now, free radicals are unbalanced molecules that rob cells of the electrons and they damage the cell. Alpha lipoic acid helps cells fight the free radicals. Now, during chemo, you cannot take, well, I should say you shouldn't take. My doctor did not want me to take vitamins or minerals. And it's because chemotherapy, well, you have a lower ability to kill cancer cells if you are using vitamins and minerals during your chemotherapy. So they're kind of a no-no. Certainly we don't want to take anything that would interfere with the ability to kill cancer cells. I might also mention that there is no alcohol during chemotherapy. Now, that's not a problem for me because I'll have a drink maybe once or twice a year. I'm really not fond of much alcohol, so I don't drink. I really don't drink. But alcohol obviously can stress the liver and the kidneys. It can cause dehydration, which worsens nausea, and it's difficult to tolerate, or more difficult to tolerate your chemo treatment. So they don't want you to take any alcohol. Again, that's not been a problem for me. Okay, I want to talk about, let's see, I take a vitamin B complex. Now, B vitamins help support your nervous system. They help the body release energy, and they combat fatigue and weakness, which of course I have from the chemo. So I take now a vitamin B complex pill every day. I also take something called slow mag, or slow magnesium. It slowly releases magnesium throughout the day. What does magnesium do? Well, it boosts the immune system, and considering my immune system has been very much affected by chemo, this is helpful to me. It can improve sleep. Yay, I needed that. It can help regulate your blood sugar levels and your blood pressure. And remember from former videos, glucose levels were extremely high for me during chemo. They want your glucose levels under 100. Mine at one time were up to 380. Last week when I went in and had my blood draw, they had dropped to 92. I'm very pleased about that. So magnesium also can support bone health, which is good. Okay, I think that's all I need to talk about today. The journey going forward, again, is to work on my mental health. Because I do take Lexapro, which I've talked about before, it's a mood stabilizer. And they started me on it because I was having anxiety panic attacks. Because this has just been a whole lot to encompass. I still worry that the cancer will return sooner than I'm ready for it to. I guess you deal with that when the time comes. I worry when I walk across the room because my heart is beating so fast right now that I'm out of breath, and it's kind of scary. I worry when I have constipation, mostly because it's just very uncomfortable. I just, I obviously worry about my future and what it will look like. But, perhaps we all worry a little about our future and what it will look like. There's no guarantees. We don't know. Mostly I have a pretty good attitude, and most of the time I feel pretty optimistic. But there are times when I get a little overwhelmed with all of this. And it's hard. And I will say that my husband, like last night, I just wasn't feeling good. I had to have a bowel movement for 3 days, and I had a lot of abdominal pain. And I came out to the couch, and I sat down, and I just started crying. Now, he was making dinner, and he stopped what he was doing, and he came over, and he sat beside me, and he put his arm around me and just comforted me. I have the most awesome husband ever. Thanks for watching, everybody. Oh, and by the way, can you tell that a little bit of my hair is starting to come in? I'm going to do a video about hair loss and what to expect when your hair comes in. So watch for that. Thanks. Bye now.